In today's video, Exploring Cinema, we're going to talk about how seemingly different films are actually very interconnected. What if I told you that Multiplicity, Click, A Christmas Carol, Freaky Friday, Big, Groundhog's Day, It's a Wonderful Life, Liar Liar, and Bruce Almighty, as well as many, many others, all share common themes. These movies, despite their different plots, all revolve around the theme of transformation through extraordinary circumstances. In fact, one could argue that this is really the same story, told and retold with different variables. Each of these movies presents a central character who is thrust into a unique, sometimes supernatural situation that challenges their understanding of life and themselves. In the movie Click, starring Adam Sandler, the main character gets a magical remote control that can manipulate time, among other things. In A Christmas Carol, the main character is visited by 3 ghosts that show him the past, present, and future. In Freaky Friday, a child and an adult switch places. In Big, Tom Hanks becomes an adult. In the movie It's a Wonderful Life, the main character can see what life would be like in a world without him. In Bruce Almighty, the main character receives God's powers. In Multiplicity, Michael Keaton finds a way to make clones of himself, and so on and so on. In all of these, the main character gets weird, supernatural, or scientifically impossible powers that challenge their understanding of life and themselves. And they find out that actually there is more to life than being selfish. The lesson might be different from movie to movie, but it's usually about not being a selfish person. There's lots of similar themes. Another one is, again, this idea of personal growth. The central character undergoes a significant personal development. They often start out with flaws, and they are in need of some lessons, and the extraordinary events are designed to teach that to them. A third theme that's common is a reflection on choices that the main character has made. These movies highlight the consequences of the main character's choices and how different decisions might lead to different outcomes. As a result, most of these movies have a theme where the main character reevaluates their priorities. The characters typically reevaluate what is most important to them, often shifting focus from professional success or personal gain to relationships and personal well-being. Another thing these stories have in common that I think is important is they tend to use humor as a vehicle. Most of these are meant to be humorous stories. The supernatural change in circumstances means a lot of the movie is not meant to be taken seriously, right? Obviously, Freaky Friday can't happen in real life. And the weirdness of these circumstances allows us to get some humor along with the life lesson and personal growth from the main character. Even in the older versions of these stories, like A Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life, there's a sense of comedy to the whole thing. I don't think the humor holds up, but I do think for their time, they were considered kind of comedies the way that we might look at Groundhog's Day as a comedy. This is also why the main character in these movies is usually associated with comedy, right? Adam Sandler was Click, Tom Hanks was Big, Jim Carrey was in Bruce Almighty and Liar Liar. Bill Murray, and again, I just mentioned Groundhog Day, but Bill Murray also starred in the 1988 Christmas Carol remake called Scrooged, which could be a video by itself. That recasting worked much better than if you had gotten like a Daniel Day-Lewis, right? And it's not because Bill Murray is a better actor than Daniel Day-Lewis, but because the story needs humor to land. That's the vehicle required for the trip for most of these movies. In most of these stories, the protagonist is given a chance for redemption, to right wrongs or improve their relationship with others, and there's a universal message that is meant to resonate with a wide audience because they deal with common human experiences and aspirations. A second to last theme that I'd like to highlight among all of these movies is that the main character usually has impact on others. The original flaws and the transformation of the protagonist have both negative and positive ripple effects on the characters in their story. The negative ripple effects early on and the positive ripple effects later on when they've changed their way. And it is getting those positive ripples that these movies all have the final same theme of resolution, which is the stories all conclude with the main character having a renewed sense of self. They're a changed person, or they have a changed perspective on life. There are lots of movies like these. I've mentioned a few, but I have no doubt that you can think of others. And if you do, please mention them in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.